No.
You don't say
I'm from Brooklyn.
Well, so's my wife, and she says please.
Okay. Okay, let's get started. I am delighted to have my colleagues here, Senators Schatz and Markey and Cortez Masto, who you'll hear from shortly. Now, we're here to talk about climate change and our Republicans' colleagues' refusal to admit that climate change is real, caused by humans, and that Congress should act. But first, quickly on another topic. Last night, we learned of President Trump and Attorney General Barr's decision to change their legal position and declare the entire Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. The conversation has now shifted already in a day to health care, and the Republicans know they're in trouble. President Trump said the Republican Party will be the party of health care. If that is true, God help middle-class Americans, because Donald Trump wants to raise the cost of prescription drugs, get rid of protections for pre-existing conditions, throw tens of millions of people off health care, and tell 21 through 26-year-olds they can no longer get health care from their parents' plan, among many other bad things. So I haven't heard a single Republican, or the president for that matter, defend the administration's decision. Why? Because it's indefensible. This is an escalation of previously unconscionable position that pre-existing conditions are unconstitutional, but now they want to go way beyond that. The DOJ crystallized the Republican plan in two short sentences: health care for 20 million Americans, pre-existing conditions, protection for seniors on drug prices, tax credits should be annihilated. That will not stand. Don't they know what the American people really care about? Better health care? The potential consequences of this politically motivated move cannot be overstated. Skyrocketing costs for families, massive increases in prescription drugs for seniors. On Medicare, women charge more because they're women. Seniors charge more because of their age. Cancer patients denied coverage. We Democrats condemn in the strongest possible terms the American we condemn in the strongest possible terms the Republican attacks on the American people, and we will not stop fighting till we protect health care. Now, on climate change, just a minute ago you witnessed real progress and why our plans are succeeding. For the first time, I heard Leader McConnell admit that climate change is real and caused by humans. Their sham vote is backfiring. They've put health care on the agenda. We Democrats are on offense, asking them three simple questions. They're being forced to answer it for the first time. And we're feeling really good about where we're moving. It's unbelievable. I want to thank Senate Leader McConnell. His stunt is backfiring, and all he's accomplished is that it's becoming clearer and clearer to the American people that the Republican Party is way behind the times on clean energy, and that Democrats are the party willing to take action. All Senate Republicans but one refused to co-sponsor our resolution. I'd ask everybody, all the constituents of a Republican senator, all the members of the press corps, let's ask Republicans three simple questions. One, do you believe climate change is real? Two, do you believe it's caused by human activity? And three, do you think Congress ought to act immediately to solve the problem? We're making progress. This morning, three other Republicans admitted on the floor this is true: Roberts, Alexander, and Murkowski. And so the direction that we want the debate to go in, not a sham vote that they put on the floor to vote no, but a real direction talking about climate change as a real problem caused by humans and doing something about it, it's rolling in our direction. Now, Leader McConnell, now that you admit it's real and caused by humans, what's your proposal? What's the Republican Party proposal? Is it more coal? One of the great ironies here, after this sham vote goes down, we're going to put a disaster relief bill on the floor. needed because climate is changing and disasters are much greater than they used to be. I heard talk here about floods in the Middle West. To not do something about climate change when you know your communities are being hurt by it is so badly representing the voters of your state. Climate change is worth serious investigation. So we are asking Leader McConnell today to agree to take a vote on my resolution to create a Senate Select Committee on climate change. Climate change is serious, and it's worthy of bipartisan investigation and action. Why not create this committee? Why not do something real and not a sham vote? In short, Leader McConnell's stunt today is backfiring. It is only revealing that Republicans refuse to agree with facts and science. They have no plan, none whatsoever, to address the crisis, and they don't even want to take time together to investigate and do something real on climate change. Senator Schatz.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. America's proud history of social change is about young people who don't take no for an answer, but take action. Some of the most inspiring movements in our history have been led by young people. They're the ones that first refused to leave their seats at segregated lunch counters, who filled campus squares demanding an end to apartheid, who marched in the streets against police brutality and staged walkouts to protest gun violence. Once again, young people are standing up because the adults are blowing it. On March 15th, tens of thousands of kids walked out of schools in hundreds of cities in 130 countries, and they're demanding action on climate. This isn't a school project for them. It is a fight for the very world that they will inhabit. They see what's happening in the world, that the climate is changing, and that this demands action. And our obligation is to treat this like an emergency. Our obligation is to acknowledge that a global problem can only be solved with American leadership. But instead of proposing investment in new flood infrastructure or a bipartisan select committee on the climate crisis or energy efficiency or nuclear energy or an increase in funding for RPE or anything that could pass the Senate, they chose a stunt. That's their choice. But this isn't about D's and R's and who has the advantage in any given day. This is about our planet, and it is time to get serious.
Senator, who's next? Markey.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Leader. And we're here just to say that Senate Democrats are united on taking action on climate. We will not allow the Republicans to make a mockery of our democratic process and of the debate over the climate crisis. And we are joined by a movement of people, young and old, all across the country, who are mobilized, organized, and galvanized to take action now on climate change. They see through this Republican disgrace here in our capital of the United States. They know that Democrats are the party of climate action and Republicans are the party of climate denial. And Senator McConnell has called this vote to protect vulnerable Republicans from having to defend that climate science denial. Senator McConnell might think that today's vote is just about a Green New Deal climate resolution, but it's really a climate action revolution which is happening in our country. A revolution on our streets where we are watching as countless young people and students across the country demand climate action. A revolution in clean energy where we are creating jobs and growing our economy. In 2018, there were more than 350,000 workers in wind and solar in our country, and we're going to create millions more with real climate action. And a revolution at the ballot box. We could see 10 million more votes cast in 2020 than in 2018, and most of these voters care deeply about climate. A recent poll showed 87% of likely voters in the first 5 primary caucus states believe it is essential or very important for candidates to have a clear plan forward on climate change and to move to 100% clean energy. With 63% of polled voters recently responding that Republicans are out of the mainstream on climate change, that's all voters responding, Leader McConnell and his caucus are on the wrong side of this debate, and they will soon find that they are on the wrong side of history. The Republicans continue to duck. They continue to run. They continue to refuse to have hearings on science, on evidence of the relationship between the storms, between the fires in our country and climate change. They refuse to have those hearings. Instead, they duck and they engage in a sham action like this. They're protecting the Koch brothers because it's an existential threat to the Koch brothers' business model to actually deal with the existential threat to our planet that the UN scientists say is real. So we are here to demand that we get the hearings, to bring out the evidence, to say to Senator Barrasso, to say to all the other senators, where are the hearings? Where is the science? Where are the experts? When do we get to hear the people who, in fact, believe the science is real? When will they have those hearings? Climate change is not a joke. Mocking it and comparing it to cartoon characters while the Midwest is flooded and people have died because of climate-related extreme weather is shameful and shows how out of touch Republicans are on this issue.
Senator Masto.
Thank you. You know, since I've been here, I have never seen Republican leaders work so hard to bring a bill to the floor that they unanimously do not support. That just shows you what a stunt this is, and it's outrageous because climate change is real. It's harming our country. It's having an impact on our economy. The scientists can prove and have shown that human activity is having an impact on it. And I will tell you, I am from a western state, from Nevada. We have had the worst wildfire season ever. And I will tell you, it's no longer seasons. We are having wildfires all the time. Now we're going to see flooding as a result of the climate change that is happening in the West. And it is devastating to our communities. It's devastating across the West. And it's time to come together to work and address the issue. Instead of having stunts like what we are going to see here today from the Republican leadership, we clearly do not believe that climate change is happening. We should be working together to address this. This is impacting our communities. So I am proud to stand with the Democrats who are spot on in addressing the climate change that is happening across this country, recognizing it. I am grateful to Leader Schumer for Senate Special Committee on Climate Change with Senator Schatz and Markey that I will be joining. The committee will allow us to lead investigations, hold hearings, and find solutions that rise to the challenge of protecting our planet and our kids' future. Nothing less is at stake here. We are fighting every day to address this issue, and we need to also stand up and call the Republican leadership out for what it's doing here. It is time to come together and work together, not play stunts for political gain, and that's what's happening today.
Thank you. Go ahead. Nope.
You guys just talked about climate change and health care. Down the hall, they're talking about health care among Democrats. I'm curious, if things had gone differently and the findings of the Mueller report had been a little different, would we be talking about climate change and health care today?
We've always felt that the issues that affect average Americans, health care, climate change, jobs, is far more important to them and to us than what happens in an investigation. Obviously, you know, we might have said a few different things here and there, but the bottom line is very simple. In the 2018 elections, I don't know of a single House Democrat or House or Senate Democrat who did a single commercial on the investigation. They did lots of them on jobs, they did lots of them on health care, they did lots of them on climate. That's where we're at.
But it feels like you guys want to move on as quickly as possible.
Well, the bottom line is the issues that won us so much in the elections of 2018 are health care, jobs, the economy.
Senator Schumer. I'm willing to say that there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Now that Mueller has established there was no criminal conspiracy.
Look, I'm waiting to see the report before I say anything conclusively. I don't need Attorney General Barr's interpretation of the report. I am for the report. And our main thrust on this issue is simply transparency. Release the report, then come to conclusions.
Senator Schumer.
The president said that he plans to nominate Stephen Moore to the Fed Reserve. If nominated, what would that mean for the direction?
Well, you know, it's another of a bunch of very bad nominations by the president, political nominations, even Holtz-Eakin, who was one of the Republican leading economists, said it would be a very bad choice. Mr. Moore doesn't have the background. He's a politician. He's political. He's always wanted cut taxes, cut taxes, cut taxes. He's one of the reasons we have such a big deficit right now because of his advocacy. Yes.
Yes. What do you make of Senator Graham's plan now to have an hold his hearings on whether the start of the investigation was politicized by the Obama administration and started from there?
Well, that's been investigated. Senator Graham could better spend his time by helping us get Leader McConnell to remove his blocking of making the report public. A whole lot of Republicans have called to make the report public. President Trump has called to make the report public. Leader McConnell has not given a single good answer why he shouldn't support our resolution. He says, well, it may not be the right time. The resolution doesn't talk about when, it just says that it should be done.
Leader Schumer.
Thank you, everybody.